Yeah, hi, good morning, all of you. Um, Hope all of you can hear me. If anyone can confirm. Yeah, thanks, Mokshit Reddy. So, just before starting with the session, so I think we have got some around 7 participants. 7 participants are there. Okay. So, anyone has been joined for the today's class? If anybody has joined for the today's class, so otherwise, just let me know about which session you are attending now. So is it the first session or it is a second or a third? So actually 3 demo classes are over actually. So just I want to know, is anybody is there for the today's class who has been joined for the today's class? So anyone is there? Okay, Mokshit, you are fourth session. Okay. I think Purna Priyatam, Amit Kumar. I think today you are the first class, right?
Yeah, and myself.
Yeah. Who is this? Soundarya. Okay. You are the first
Yeah.
session, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Neelam is the third session. Okay, Neelam is the third session. And what about the other guys? Is my first class. Amit Kumar is first class. Okay. So I see 3 people are there. I think remaining people has already attended the last a couple of classes. So who has been joined for the today's class? So just a 3 demo classes has been happened. Just we given some light a little bit introduction to what is machine learning and what are the different types of roles that are available. If you learn this course called as a machine learning, so what exactly your role will be there, and we have discussed about some cases like what are the different types of technologies we learn, what are the different techniques we are going to learn. So as of this particular machine learning course actually, um, uh, uh, yeah, third session. Okay, it's my first class. Okay. The guys, so today actually our plan is to start with the basics of Python actually. So introduction to Python. The people who has been the missed the last 3 classes, who has been missed the last 3 classes. So they are going to share the recording sessions of that particular 3 classes. It is only just an the intro class for that, just like an introduction only, just to give some idea about what is machine learning, why do you require machine learning, how the problem solving is going to take place, what kind of problems you are going to solve in the real applications. So just get an idea about the just to get some awareness about what is machine learning. So machine learning is a part of a data science course. Actually, the course name is a data science. But in this particular training sessions, we are going to be learning something concentrated on completely with the machine learning concept, what we are going to concentrate actually. Okay. So that is what exactly we are going to discuss. So the people who already attended the last couple of classes, so they have some idea about what is meaning of machine learning. So don't worry, the guys who has been joined for the today's class, I think 2 people are there. One is Amit and the other one is I think Soundarya. So just there is a demo classes has been happened. So they will share you the video sessions, the recorded sessions of the last 3 classes. You can just go through them and you can attend the class, and nothing has been happened also. So you can just only thing is you don't know, maybe if you are not aware about what is machine learning, so you may get some confusion between what is exactly machine learning will be there. So go through that videos. Anyhow, in the coming classes, that means whenever I about to start with the machine learning, again I'm going to discuss something about the what exactly the machine learning techniques are going to be there. What is, again we'll have a complete deep drive into that machine learning introduction will be there actually. We just given an higher level information about what is machine learning, but we'll go into a deep dive into the machine learning concept whenever I start with the machine learning applications. Okay. So basic idea here is of machine learning is we have some past data is there. So machines can learn from that particular data, and based on that, whatever they have been learned, we can do some kind of a predictions what we are going to do that here. So for that, I told you there are some different techniques that are happening actually. So like we have to do the data collection, data cleansing, data analytics, data visualizations. Some kind of a techniques are involved in that. So we'll understand all those particular applications later. Okay. So who has been joined for the today's class? So don't worry about the last two classes, the last couple of classes. It is only just an intro for the machine learning. Again, we'll get it. And anyhow, Durga Soft is going to share you the recorded sessions of that particular video classes. Okay, fine. So to implement machine learning, what languages we are going to use? I told you there are different languages are there. Most popular is going to be, one is going to be the Python and other one is going to be the R language is there popularly. So here we are going to learn completely with the help of Python only. But along with the Python, you are going to be having some idea about, we are going to get some, we are going to train you even on the other languages also. Like there is an R language is there. We'll give some idea about the R language also. If you are really interested to work with R language also, we'll give all the basic stuff which are required to become an expertise in R also. So you can become an expertise in R and Python, both of them are same. And one more thing is, whatever we are using is completely open sources actually. So being there are open sources, you should not be limit your knowledge only for Python only. Generally the people who works on open source languages, they have to work with all the other open source languages also. They're flexible to use for you. That's why it is better to learn to have some expertise even on the other languages, or also you should be having some little bit expertise on that. So here in this class, not only working on Python and R, we are also going to give you some awareness about what are the other languages we have, what are the other frameworks we are going to be having to work with this kind of an machine learning applications. So first we are going to start with Python. So nowadays you are hearing about the Python very frequently. It is becoming very popular among all the technologies. So let us start with the Python introduction for the today's class. So today's our aim of discussion here is just an intro to Python actually, like something like history about the Python we'll discuss, and we discuss about some kind of an features whatever the Python is there. So today's our aim is to discuss about these things actually. So some features of Python and some kind of an history of Python, how the Python has came into existence. So how it was inspired, from where, who developed it, some kind of an introduction to the Python, what exactly we'll discuss about them. Okay. So let us talk about some features of, when you talk about the Python, as you know that Python is also going to be, you can say one of a programming language, what we can say that. So we'll add up one by one points here now. So I'm writing the handwritten notes. I'm going to share you these notes also every day. You're going to share this handwritten notes to you. You can just go through that. You can write your own notes. You can write your interested, based on your interested. You can write your own running notes. Along with that, my notes will be also get shared with you as a like a PNG file. I'll share it as a screenshot. So you can just go through that and you can understand them actually. Mostly I'm going to write some kind of a discussion like a whiteboard. Is actually the software itself is a whiteboard. So if you have a classroom training, what we are generally write it on the noteboard, the same thing here also I'm going to write it on the noteboard only. On the whiteboard I'm going to write it actually. Just imagine this like it's a classroom training where I'm going to write everything by using the notebook. On the whiteboard I'm going to write it here now. Okay. So the first thing here is, first of all, let us talk about what is going to be the Python. What is one of the feature of the particular Python, what we call it as. First one off, it is going to be a language which we are going to call it as the first point I want to say here is, Python is a general purpose language actually. It is going to be a general purpose language. What do you mean to say a general purpose language? I think you know that. What do you mean to say general purpose? It can be used for almost all. So like if you have a Java is there. So Java is used for mainly for the development of the web applications. .NET is there. So it is purely for almost all web applications, mobile applications. We can develop them. Like if you have a PHP is there. So PHP is also mostly for mobile application, the web applications only the PHP is going to be gets used. Like this, there is some specific purpose is there. For every language, there is a specific purpose is there. This language is developed for this kind of a purpose is there. Generally, whenever you use a language only for a specific purpose, we are going to call it as a specific purpose language, what we are going to call it as. It is generally what we are going to call them as a specific purpose language. But Python is not a specific purpose language. The main intention of the Python is not to limit only for these type of applications. Almost all Python can be used by everybody, almost all anybody. And one more thing, don't think that it is a programming language, it is only used by software professionals only. Like for example, if .NET and Javas are there, they are only generally used by only by the software developers. The IT professionals will use this actually. But Python is not like that. It can be used by normally by software professionals they will use. Apart from the software professionals, the other peoples also will use as these languages. Like mathematicians uses this Python actually, because Python supports a very advanced mathematical calculations. Like if you talk about some other programming languages like Java or some other languages like Java or .NET, if you see, they also supports .NET, C language, etc. We see they also support some kind of a mathematical calculation. Some kind of a calculations are supported. Like you can find a square root of a particular number, but it supports only some basic mathematical operations. But if you want to do some kind of a matrix calculations, if you want to do some matrix multiplications, or if you want to do some kind of a calculus, so those are not supported by our languages like Java, .NET, etc. Because they are not generally for mathematicians actually. It is basically for developing of the software applications. Completely Java, .NET, C, these are all nothing but a software programming languages which are basically for development of the software applications. But Python is not only for software applications, it is not only for IT professionals, even the other people also can use this actually. And I done some discussion regarding that. Some people has asked me, some question has been got, like saying that, sir, will only IT companies will recruit the this whatever we are learning as a machine learning. Machine learning is not a part of only for a software engineers. Will understand. I told you in the last class also. Who is exactly a data scientist? It is nothing but where exactly we can say that a statistician plus an IT, a software person. Simple to say that a data scientist is nothing but a statistician with some software knowledge, or a software person with a statistical knowledge. That is going to be a real data scientist is going to be there actually. So statistician which who is better at software engineering than the other statisticians, or a software engineer who is better at statistics with the other compared to the other software engineers actually. A statistician and a software engineer. So both combined is going to become a real data scientist. So it's not only this data scientist is not only appointed only by the software companies, even the e-commerce companies like Amazon, or healthcare service providers like hospitals. Even in hospitals also we have a machine learning is going to be there. So there are going to be diagnosis of the diseases in healthcare. So instead of hospitals, in healthcare it is going to be there. In finance, like in banking, insurance, we can use educations like in schools, universities. So almost all in every area we are going to be having this particular the data science and machine learning can be implemented. So Python is a language which is not intended for only for a particular purpose of implementation. It can be used by variety of the people. It can be used by variety of the people. Like generally who are going to be users actually, like software professionals will use this. Basically for the applications like either it may be a web, or it may be something like a mobile, or even we can develop the desktop applications. So for development of web applications, you know what is web application? Websites, mobile applications, as you know that the mobile applications, we know that, and desktop applications purpose. So the software people generally who works on mobile development, web development, and the application developments, so those people can use this particular Python. Not only that, the people who are going to be who are working on the gaming applications actually, even the gaming applications people also can use this actually. So I think Java can be used for gaming applications. Some kind of an languages that are going to be used in the gaming applications. Even Python is also can be used as part of the gaming applications. So not only web, or not only mobile, not only desktop, business applications, even in kind of a gaming applications also Python can be used. Not only in the gaming applications, even in the kind of hackers. hackers also chooses the Python as the one of the language what we can use, because Python supports some kind of a socket programming, the networking applications. Due to some socket programming, hackers is nothing but completely they works only on the socket programming only, because what the hackers are going to do is that, so whatever the sockets we are using, what type of networking they are using, so they completely works on the protocols only actually. So what is the input data is going, how many bytes, what the hackers will do, they completely works on the socket programmings only. So hackers kind of applications, they uses this particular one. Not only that, the mathematicians and statisticians, so you can do that actually. Mathematicians and statisticians is going to uses this particular one, because Python provides you a lot of support for all the advanced mathematics. It's not only a simple mathematical concepts like you can work with matrices, matrix concepts we can work. Even we can go for the Fourier transforms. Not only that, there are so many things are going to be gets applied here. We can apply all the calculus formulas. We can apply a lot of statistical theorems can be gets applied. There are so many things are available there. So mathematicians, statisticians, hackers, gaming applications, mobile application developments, and basically for machine learning. So I told you why Python here now. So Python provides you all the functionalities which a machine learning engineers are going to be required actually. So machine learning engineers, ML engineers can use as a Python actually. So because completely machine learning is basically depending on the mathematical and the statistical applications only. So any language which can implement all my mathematical formulations or all the statistical theorems can be applied, I can do this kind of an application, because there are some machine learning algorithms are there which completely works based on the statistical theorems. Navi Bayes is there. So Navi Bayes is a theorem which is going to be it's an algorithm which is going to be depends on the statistical concept called as a probability or mathematical concept, because we know that statistics is also one part of a mathematics only. It's one subpart of the mathematics subject actually. So it is a general purpose language. Anybody for any purpose we can use. Almost all for all types of implementations. For all types of implementation, there is nothing restricted that only web developers can use. If we take PHP, it can be mostly used only for the web development only. You cannot do any other applications. But Python is not like that. It is not restricting you, saying that you can do only these kind of applications only. It's a general purpose language, what we can call it as. So the first feature of Python, why the Python is becoming popular, because nowadays hackers are learning Python. The mathematicians and the statisticians are learning the Python. Research people, domain experts, healthcare, almost all everybody, wherever there is some requirement of this, they are using the Python. Python is a general purpose language. It's a general purpose language. So second point here is what we can discuss here is it is going to be purely an open source language. It is an open source language. So you know what is meaning of an open source? You know what is meaning of a free softwares? There are so many free softwares will be there actually. What is meaning of a free software means there are going to be free to use. They are basically free to use, but we cannot modify their functionalities. We cannot customize them actually. So they are completely free to use, but we cannot modify. If you want to make any modifications, only the corresponding company has to do that actually. But open source language is not like that. They are free to use. Not only that, they are free to distribute it also, because they will directly give you the source code, or simple to understand that, maybe I don't know how many of you are aware about the Java programming, because nowadays Java has also become a common language. It is also becoming a common language. Some decades ago, C language is a common language. That means whether you are from CSC or IT, or it may be from electronics or electrical or civil or any, whatever may be your specialization, everybody used to have some knowledge about C language actually. C is a common language, which almost all in whenever we join engineering, in the first year there is a common language called as a C language is there. Nowadays, Java also has become one of the common language among most of the branches actually. or at least some kind of an object oriented is required actually. So for example, in terms of Java, if I talk about that, you know that whenever I write a program, let us say by writing a .java program, and I'm going to compile the program, and I'm going to generate a file called as a .class file. So you, all of you are aware about that. If I give you a .class file, what happens? If you do it, if I give you a .class file, I have some code, I've written some functionality. So that functionality will do something. I've written some code, and I've given a .class file to you at a free of cost. I'm giving it a free of cost. So whenever I given you the .class file, what happens here is you can just run the program, you can execute it, but you cannot modify the code actually. You cannot modify the code. So in the program, I'll say in the program or the software, whatever I develop, I will say that it is copyrighted to Mr. Vamsi Krishna, and for any further details, you can contact me. Even if you share it with some other, if you share the software from some other person also, it was copyrighted to me only, but not with the other person actually. But open sources are not like that. If I give the directly the .java file to you, what you can do, you know that I given this .java file to somebody. What he can do is he can change the code. In the place of copyrighted to Vamsi Krishna, he can say copyrighted to so and so person, and he can sell the product. So free softwares are only free to use, but they are not free to distribute. You cannot distribute them. But open sources are not like that. They are free to use. The main advantage is it is free to use. Not only free to use, it is used for free to distribute it also. We can do that. It is free to use and free to distribute. So Python has given the code to you. The Python community has given a code to you. Directly, they'll give the source code to you. You can, if you want, you can use it. If you want, you can modify them and sell it as your own product to the other companies. But there are some terms and conditions will be there. Under some terms and conditions only that will be there. So I'll talk about what are the Python distributions are there. We have some distributions of Python. What is meaning of a distribution of Python means they'll take the source code of Python, they'll take the source code, they will make some lot of modifications, and they will give you. Generally, the main problem with these open sources are generally the features are, it's not an features are limited. For every functionality, we have to add some libraries, we have to use them. Everything normal people cannot do that actually. Like you people are having Java is there, we'll download the Java directly. If any update is there, we'll directly update the Java software and use it. But open sources are not like that. They don't update them. They will release that particular extra patches. We have to download them and we have to work with them. Everything we have to do it manually in open sources. So to make it simplified to the other users, so some companies what they will do is they'll take the source code, they will make some modifications, they make application simplified and give it to the end users. But due to some terms and conditions between the Python and the distributor, so there are some terms and conditions will be there. They have to follow that kind of terms and conditions. So Python is an open source language. You are free to use and it is free to distribute it also. Everything is open source. You know what is meaning of an open source? Everything is readily available to you. So I'm giving you completely as an open book. You can just take it down and you can make the modifications and we can work with it. So it's a general purpose language and it is an open source language. It's a free to use and it is free to distribute. So we'll talk about some of the features later, some of the features also later. Let us talk about some history about the Python. Some history about the Python. So the Python was written around in the year 1991, approximately some around year 1990, approximately around 1989 they started actually. They released the first release in 1991. Around some 1990, they written this language called as a Python actually. First of all, how the Python was written actually, how it was came into the existence. So there is some quite interesting history or story behind that actually. So there is a person with a name called as, his name is going to be Van Rossum. His complete name is Guido van Rossum. So this is the person who has written this language called as a Python actually. In short, we call them as GVR. So Guido van Rossum, is the name of the person. He's a Dutch programmer actually. So he was one of the team member. So he's one of a leading member, leading a team. They want to develop a language called as an They want to develop a language. Their main aim is to develop a language which is becoming very simplified to the developers actually. Whatever I talked about previously, some of the features of Python, I'll talk about the some of the advantages of using Python language. We'll discuss in the coming applications. So around in 1990, so this Guido von Rossum has leading a team who want to develop a language which is very simplified for the developers, because they are facing a lot of issues for the developers actually. So they want to make it more and more simplified. In Python, everything is simplified actually, because the main aim of the Python is to make the developers, to make the implementation for the developers more and more simplified actually. So initially they have written a language called as, they developed a language called as in, the name of the language is going to be ABC. Initially they developed a language with a name called as an ABC. So, and why the name ABC has came also, we know that. So generally we use that term whenever it is a very simple application. We'll say that it is a very simple, like it is simple like an ABC actually. So they named the language ABC, but due to some technical reasons, this language was not released into the real market, into the real world. This language has not came into the real world. So they stopped this ABC, and inspired from this language ABC, this person, the one Rossum, has written this language inspired from that ABC language only. So he has written this language called as the Python has been got developed. So we can say that Python was inspired. It was inspired from the language called as an ABC, written by this person called as an the Guido von Rossum. He has written this particular language called as an the ABC. And one of the quite interesting about this one here is the name Python actually. So many people, whenever I say it is a Python, so anybody knows, anybody in the group or anybody in the participants, do you know about why the name Python has came? Anyone? Any idea? From where the Python name has been taken? So whenever I say Python, generally what that comes to your mind generally? Anyone? So whenever you hear the word Python, generally what generally comes to your mind basically? Yes, please use the chat panel. Let us discuss the things. It's not like a learning. It is like a discussion class, like a classroom training only. Okay, it is a snake. Okay, so okay, somebody saying that it is going to be a snake actually, because generally we know that Python is nothing but the huge snake, the very big snakes which we generally find it in the Amazon forest, something like that. But the name Python is nothing relevant to that particular name called as the snake name called as a Python actually. It is nothing relevant to that. It is nothing relevant to that. So there is one TV show is there. So the name of the TV show is nothing but Flying Circus. The name of the TV show is going to be, it is going to be Flying Circus is the name of the TV show. It is a British, it's a TV show. It's a comedy show actually, like an web series. Generally, in around 1969, around 1969 to 1974, this web series has came in the the English channels actually. There is a TV show. It's a comedy show actually, like a web series comedy shows, which we used to see in our childhood. Some like of an what we can say like an Charlie Chaplin's, or we have some kind of an TV shows are there, no? So same as it is, there is a TV show called as an Flying Circus. It was directed by one of the person called as Monty Python. The director name is going to be Monty Python. So that's why we call it as Monty Python Flying Circus actually. This person, the Rossum, who is a fan of this particular TV show, he has taken that name called as a Python from his name actually. Some of the textbooks, even if you see, they will put a snake symbol on the cover page of the textbook. But the Python name is nothing relevant to that actually. And one more reason here is the whatever the logo of Python you see, that also appears like a snake only. Something like a snake, two snakes are going to be just it's like looks like that actually. So that is the reason most of the people thinks that it is something relevant to the the huge snakes. It is nothing relevant to that huge snakes. The name has been taken by the name of a person who is nothing but the Monty Python, and his TV show is going to be the Flying Circus. Now, if you want, you can watch them on the Netflix. It was available. So Monty Python Flying Circus, if you type it in the Google, so you can want, if you have a subscription in the Netflix, you can watch that particular videos in the Netflix actually. So that is the some history behind this name called as a Python. And there are so many such kind of a softwares which are having some interesting naming is there. Do you hear about the Hadoop actually? Have you heard about the big data Hadoop? Even that is also something relevant to the data processing only. That is also some part of the data analytics concept only. Have you seen the name Hadoop, big data Hadoop? Anyone? Yeah, Sri Sriram. You're talking about the duration of the course and syllabus. Um, I think it is going to be almost all 10 to 12 weeks it will take it. And for the course duration, you just please send me your, if you can ping your mail ID, I'm going to share you that particular details. I think I think some of the people, Mokshit or somebody, did you receive that particular contents of the course contents? For some of you have been shared with them actually. Yes, Mokshit, I think I have shared with you. Okay, so if anybody wants their course content, just send me your mail ID and I'm going to just ping your mail ID. I'm going to share you that particular course contents. And the course duration will be around 10 to 12 months. Sorry, 10 to 12 weeks it is going to take it. Approximately 2.5 to 3 months it is going to take a course. Okay, fine. So let's continue the discussion. Okay, so we are talking about something called as a big data Hadoop. So anybody heard about that, or at least anybody knows about the whatever the symbol it is going to be gets used for representing the big data Hadoop? It's an elephant actually. It is going to be the elephant. What exactly the elephant is going to be there? Yeah, Sri Srinam, there is no reinforcement learning is not. It's not going to be possible to teach it in these particular classes. Reinforcement learning is completely different. So that is a different kind of learning. So if you want to really go for reinforcement learning, first of all, we have to learn the machine learning. First of all, we have to understand supervised and unsupervised learning, and then you can go for reinforcement learning. Directly, we cannot go for a reinforcement learning directly. Okay. So this course is basically for supervised and unsupervised learnings. Okay, fine. Okay then. So all of you know that it is going to be some kind of an elephant is going to be gets coming. So kind of an elephant. So generally the people thinks that why the name elephant has came is because the name of the software is going to be nothing but what we call it as a big data actually. So generally Hadoop is basically to handle a huge volumes of data, and majority of the people thinks that the elephant is basically to represent it is a huge animal. So that's why there is going to be some kind of an yeah, Amit Kumar, I will share you that details to your mail ID. So if you have that, if you share your mail ID, I'm going to share you that particular course details actually. Okay, fine then. Okay, yeah. So please share your mail IDs, and I'm going to share you the course content after the class. Okay. So this is going to be an elephant is there because the elephant is basically a huge animal, and the Hadoop is also to use to represent huge volumes of data actually. Yes, that is also quite, it's going to be the same name, but some kind of it's a short story is behind that. So the person who developed this Hadoop, he is also the name of the person is going to be Dog Cutting is the name of this person actually. The name of the person is a Dog Cutting. So Dog Cutting has he was leading a team which was handling this particular big data system. So what name he has to give? First, initially he don't have he's thinking about the name actually. So once he's looking at once he has been saw his son, he's playing with an elephant toy actually. So the name of that particular elephant toy is Hadoop. His son's toy name is Hadoop actually. So the name Hadoop from his son's toy has been given to the name of this particular tool, what we are going to call it as an Hadoop actually. The name of the toy is nothing but Hadoop. He has taken that particular name. So like this, there are some quite interesting stories behind these particular namings of the companies actually. So same like this, Python has also came from a TV show, not from a snake animal. So it is going to be from the TV show, the name has came actually. So you can find it in the Google if you find it. So it is going to be the name of that particular TV show is, it is going to be Monty Python. So it is going to be Monty Python Flying Circus. This is the name of that particular TV show actually. It's a British comedy series. You can find this in the Netflix also, you can find it actually. So this is a TV show. From here only, they have taken the name called as, and the group is called as Python's team. So the name Monty Python actually. So he's abbreviated as MDFC. Is a British sketch comedy series created when starting the comedy group called as Monty Python. Consists of a different people, or also called as a Pythons actually. So the Rossum whom we are talking about them, he is a fan of this particular show, and he has named that particular language behind that particular name called as the Python. It has been gotten. So there is some history behind this particular the invention or development of this particular one. Yeah. Actually, we'll come back to that particular question. I think Sriram, after this course completion, will you take reinforcement learning? And will you teach even Hadoop also if possible? Why can't you take Hadoop also? Okay. Actually, according to the course curriculum what Durgasoft has given, so inside that there is no Hadoop course content is there. So actually, Hadoop is also a subject actually, but it is not a mandatory concept which everybody has to learn actually. It's not a mandatory thing. So initially people thought that we have to learn Hadoop also, but later, so whenever we go to the job roles, when you went to the job role of machine learning engineer, so nowadays what happened here is Hadoop is almost all, they're not using any big data systems. Now directly we have a lot of cloud storages as came, like Azure and all these things has came actually. So nowadays people are not preferring to store it in big data systems like Hadoop. So directly they are going for Azure systems. In Azure also we can directly store all the, they're paying some money, and they're getting some Azure accounts, and they're handling by using the Azure itself. So that is the reason. So why people started learning this Hadoop also. So if you want, I can just give you some introduction, like a couple of classes, 3 or 4 classes I can give you. That's why I said that it is 2.5 months is a course. But maybe if somebody is interested to learn something, so I'm going to give you some knowledge about that, because I have a lot of experience on various technologies. So big data systems, SQL, business intelligence systems, administrations of databases. So I have a quite more and more languages are there. So even Spark is not there in your course, but I'm going to teach you even the Spark also. So for that, I have given some extra 2 more weeks I have been got given for that. Okay,
Sir,
fine.
sorry to interrupt you, sir.
So that is the history behind that.
Sir, sorry to interrupt
Sure.
you, sir.
Yeah, go
Sir,
ahead.
even though Hadoop
Yeah.
has been evolved, why the Hadoop technology has been outdated?
Mm,
Uh, but even still,
mm.
I have seen some friends that they're still learning Hadoop. Why? What is the reason behind this? Even though, as you mentioned right
Um,
now, it is Azure. We are
See,
using Azure.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
yes, I'll tell you.
Please
So
go.
because
Yes, sir.
I have my own experience, yeah, I have my own experience. So I'll tell you. So even people will learn starting. People are learning how to, but when you go to real time, so because see, you have to learn according to the industry standards actually. So if really, if you have an Hadoop requirement, so if you learn Hadoop, that is a better case. So I find it. So around in 2014, because I am there in the technology from the year 2001. From 2001, I was there in the this particular IT field in starting from 2001. I have seen a lot of technologies, so which maybe some of you people has not seen also. So maybe you heard about the names like Informatica, and you may have seen about a data stage. You may hear about the names, the people who are the recently they have came into the IT field. So data stage, Cognos, business intelligence, business objects. So I have seen all this. I worked on these all these technologies, very outdated technologies actually. Still Informatica is there now, but we don't have any new development on Informatica. So around in 2014, they started the Hadoop. So Hadoop is going to be basically works on MR framework actually. It completely works on the MR framework. There is a concept called as an MR framework, which is going to be what we call it as a MapReduce framework. So the basic problem with the MR framework is it is having a lengthy process actually, because it is going to be having something called as mapping. There is a mapper stage will be there, and in between there is a something like an sort and shuffle stages, shuffle and sort stage will be there, and there is a reducer stage. So due to that, the performance which was providing is very slow actually. It is giving a very low performance. Even for a small program to run also, it takes some minutes of time due to this architecture. So at that time, there is the only solution which people find it, even it is taking a long time also, the people has been used this one. But after that, around in 2016, so there is a framework has came, which is going to be Spark framework has came actually. So completely once the Spark has came, almost all this MapReduce framework has been outdated, because Spark provides a better architecture than the MapReduce. With a lightning speed, Spark is going to work actually. So even if the people are learning Hadoop also, finally their intention is to learn the Spark itself. To understand what is the advantages of the Spark, even we also, even whenever we are giving a training on Spark, first we'll start with the Hadoop itself. So writing an Hadoop program is very complicated, because if you want to write an Hadoop program, we have to know about Java, because the main Hadoop programs are going to be written by using Java as a native language. But Spark is not like that. Spark is having different languages. Like Spark framework can work with even with there is a native language called as a Scala. It was developed by using the native language called as a Scala, or you can use Python, or you can use R, or even you can use the SQL language. So Spark supports these four basic languages which will be supported. So a person who is having a knowledge of Python, they can directly use the Spark framework. If you work with SQL, if you want to work as an SQL developer, so you can go for the Spark framework. So to understand the architecture of the Spark, we will teach you some basic things like what is the MapReduce, how it will works, how it is going to be differs from the MapReduce framework. So obviously when you go for an interview for the Spark, so obviously there is a question maybe why the Spark has been, uh, it has been replaced with the MapReduce. So what is the problem with the MapReduce, and what are the advantages with the Hadoop actually? So to understand why we are using the Spark actually, to understand the core concept, maybe they're learning the Hadoop. But I have seen a lot of systems are there. So mostly the people who are working on Hive, they're completely shifting now to the Spark actually. I have seen a lot of projects are there. So a lot of people who started learning Spark from me, their main expectation is currently their systems are working on Hive. Completely they want to convert all the Hive systems to Spark systems. So because there is some kind of an integration between the Hive and the Spark, that is the reason why they're learning the basic Hadoop concept. Hive is nothing but framework of Hadoop. So directly you cannot learn the Hive. First of all, they will learn the Hadoop first, and after that they will learn the framework called as a Hive is going to be gets learned. And Hadoop is also nothing but a collection of frameworks actually. They'll use a different collection of frameworks like Pig, Hive, Scoop. Okay, they uses a different type of frameworks will be used. So based on that frameworks they are working, that is the reason they learn the particular Hadoop. Fine.
Now this is the outdated technology in
I
the
think
industry. No, hello, sir.
no, it's an outdated.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
It means it
it
is
is an
a wastage
outdated
of,
technology. So because
sir.
now nobody is
Sir. Yes,
it's
sir.
a wastage of time. It's a wastage of
Yes,
time.
sir.
But what I say is don't spend too much time on that. So previously when you're teaching Hadoop, so they used to learn MapReduce programming itself for 15, at least MapReduce framework itself is for 15 days of time. Don't spend that much time. Just spend 3 to 4 days of time. Even we don't make them to write a Hadoop program also. We'll show the Hadoop program. This is the way how the Hadoop program will be written. This is the way we execute. Just we'll show you the execution part only. What are the problems in this Hadoop? So they will understand them. We don't make them to write the programs. In 2014, we used to make them write the programs actually by teaching them Java. So again, 1 week we used to spend some classes on Java, and after that they went to Hadoop programming. They don't know. Some people don't know about the Java programming. So unnecessary all this time wasting process. So quickly within 1 week of time, we will teach all these ecosystems, and directly they'll go to the Spark programming.
Sir,
Okay.
and one more doubt, sir. I kindly request you to clarify.
Yeah,
Sir, instead of wasting time,
sure, sure.
instead of wasting time in Hadoop, it is better to go in the deep learning and reinforcement learning now, sir. Into, because as it is the trending technology.
Without learning machine learning, how
Yes, sir.
without learning machine learning, how can you go for a deep learning?
Including machine learning, sir. What I mean to say.
Yes,
Machine
yes.
learning,
This course
machine
is
learning,
first
deep
mainly
learning.
intention is for machine learning.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I'll clarify that out. The thing is, deep learning is a little bit higher level because we have some kind of an very advanced algorithms called as a neural networks. Actually, why the machine learning has, why the data science has become popular because is due to due to the development of these particular advanced neural networks only. But the thing is, learning neural networks is not simple like you were learning a basic machine learning algorithms. So the deep learning is also part of a machine learning only, but a little bit advanced algorithms are going to be gets used, which is going to be the name itself, deep neural networks. Actually, deep neural networks, a lot of mathematics is involved there. So the person who want to learn the deep learning, everybody may not be interested in learning deep learning. So will this course is first intention is for machine learning. If you are interested to go for a deep learning, there is another course is there from Durga, which is going to be nothing but advanced data science with deep learning. Actually, this is data science with machine learning and Python, or with Python and machine learning. There is another course curriculum is there. That course curriculum is going to be nothing but it is advanced data science with deep learning. So if you are interested to go for a deep learning, after completion of this machine learning class, then we have to go for a deep learning classes. That is a separate course what we are providing by Durga.
Sir, we
So if
need
you
you
want
as an
those,
instructor,
if you
sir.
want to learn this,
Sir, we need you
I
as
don't
an
know whether
instructor
I'm
for
going
deep
to teach.
learning.
That's why I'm saying that that is not decided by me. That is going to be decided by the Durga who will be the trainer for that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
so
Thank
see,
you.
I don't even guarantee that I am going to take the class. So there are multiple faculties will, because only one faculty cannot train all the because this is not just like a 1 month or 1.5 months. It may take 3 months of time. So we cannot block that. You cannot block the schedule with one trainer. So we have multiple trainers are there. So automatically, what will happen here is you can handle by multiple. So I don't know. Maybe the next batch which I'm going to deep learning is going to be taken by me. And I was an expertise in deep learning also because I done my certification specifically on the deep learning only. So I
Okay.
done from triple IT. It is only 1 week is on machine learning. Remaining 12 weeks is completely on the deep neural networks only. I learn all the deep neural networks. I know how to train them. I know how to handle the deep neural networks. So mainly handling of deep neural networks is very complicated. Unless and until you don't know the base concept, you cannot go for them. So that is a different case. Deep learning is not like a simple coming to the class, learning the code and going there. There's a lot of research has to be gets done in the deep learning. So I'll give some idea about what is deep learning. If anybody is interested, you can move to that particular course after the course actually. After this course, they can go for the deep learning.
Thank you
Got
so
it?
much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, fine. Okay, so let us discuss about them. So this is the points of discussion. Like we have it's an what I told you about that. It's an open source language. It's a free to use and a free to distribute. And it was written by a person called as the Guido von Rossum. So who has written this language called as a Python, and which was inspired from the ABC language and named after the TV show called as an Monty Python Flying Circus. And it is a purely general purpose language. It is going to be there. So if whenever we talk about some kind of features, whatever the features we are providing here, one of the best feature which we can find is, it is what we call it as Python is a dynamically typed language. This feature has been, this one of the feature is going to be very advantage for the developer point of view. For the developer point of view, this feature called as a dynamically typed language is one of the best feature which most of the developers will recommend actually. So you know that whenever we go to Java, C, C++, any programming language, one of the major problem is declaration of variables. So without using a declaration of variable, you can't use it. For example, I want to use one small variable only just for small calculation. Let us say you declare t is an integer data type. Throughout the program, you use the t how many times does not matter, but it is only can be used only as an integer data type. You cannot change it to float, we cannot change it to string, or we cannot do any other thing. Once you declare a variable t as an integer, it will be only integer only. It cannot be modified. If you say t equals to abcd, I'll get an error. First part is declaration of a variable. Without declaration of a variable, we cannot use a variable. But in Python, there is no concept of declaration. no declaration of variables is required. A big relief for the developers, very big relief, because one of the major problem or one of the major issues which faced by most of the developers is declaration of the variables. Without having the declaration, we can't use it. Do you want 10 variables? You have to declare them. In Python, it is not required. In other languages, t as an integer, t equals to something like a 10, valid case. T equals to ABCD, it is an invalid case because it is acting as a string. In Python, no declaration. Directly I equals to 100, enter, I equals to ABCD, enter. No problem at all. In the first case, I will act as an integer automatically. Data types are there. It will be treated as an integer. In second case, immediately it will convert into string type of data type automatically. So it is not changing the value, it is changing the data type itself. In other languages, we have to change the value according to the data type. But here it is not like that. Automatically data type changes according to the value. So when I said I equals to 100, I will be treated as an integer data type. When I said I equals to ABCD, I will be treated as a string type of data type. This feature is what we call it as a dynamically typed language. You know what is meaning of dynamically? Dynamically means at runtime, it is going to choose as the data type. But Python supports the data types. I don't say that there is no data types are there. Float, integer, string, all these common data types are going to be get supported here. But no declaration of variables. No need to say I integer. Directly you say I equals to 100. Over. That's it. One of the best, one of a big relief for the developers, because we know that when you're writing any programming language, if you forgot a small variable declaration, total program will be total program is going to raise as an error. But here, no such kind of errors are there. You take integer, you take the same variable immediately as a string, immediately you take it as an array, immediately you take it as some other object, does not matter with that. It's a dynamically typed language. So the data type is going to be chosen dynamically at the runtime. It is going to be get chosen actually. So this is one of the feature of what we call it as a dynamically typed language. And the Python completely follows the object oriented structure actually. It is going to be OOPS based programming language. So completely it works on based on the OOPS concept only. Everything we are going to treat it as a class. So if you are familiar with the Java, we know what are the features of object oriented. Even if you don't have any idea also, I'm going to teach you some basics of object oriented. So in our class itself, I'm going to teach you some concepts and features of object oriented. That is what we call it as OOPS concept, what we are going to discuss. So Python is completely object oriented based only. Everything we treat it as an object. Every object is associated with some methods and attributes. Same style. That means we'll talk about a dot method. So a is an object. So we talk about a dot method, a dot attribute. So this type of style of coding is going to be gets available there. So attribute does not take any parameters. Method will take the parameters. So let us imagine that a is an object. An object is created from a class. There are different types of predefined classes are there. Everything is a class only. In Python, everything is a class. String is a class, list is a class, even integer, everything is a class only. What is that? I'll tell you later actually. It is nothing but an object-oriented style. It is a completely object-oriented programming style only. So which follows by the Python. So it becomes very convenient for the users. You need not to remember all the methods. Once if you know the object dot, all the methods will come automatically. Okay. So these are some of the features are there. It's not yet completed. Still we'll discuss about them in the coming classes also. So that's it. Just for today, we'll stop it for here. So it is already 10:05. So no issue. So beginning classes on, some people are going to be joining newly. So not to become heavy for the first two classes, first 2-3 classes, we'll take a 1 hour class. We'll take it. After that, as I told you, we'll start by 9, 5, 9, 10. We'll start the session and we'll make up to 10, 15, 10, 20. We'll make up the class actually. At least 1 hour, 15 minutes class will be there actually. Okay. So don't worry and give me a couple of days of time and to share all these materials. We'll share it through the Google Drive. So I have to discuss with the Durga soft how to share them actually, whether they share them or whether I will share them. So for other consultants, directly I'll share them actually directly through the Google Drive itself. I'm going to share them actually. I'll discuss with them. Okay. So I'll share that particular details actually. Okay. Please take deep learning also, Sri Rairam. Okay. So can we send the course curriculum? Yes, entire course would like to know what are the concepts are taught. I'll share my complete course details, Shravan, and you can just go through that, and you can just contact the Durga Soft for the further details. Okay, fine. So that's it for the today's class. Still not yet over the introduction to Python. So tomorrow I'll talk about some more features of Python, and then tomorrow we'll see the installation of Python. I think all of you know about that installation, and after that we'll start with a little bit practicals of Python, basic practicals of Python. We'll start with that. Okay. So just 4 or 5 features I talked about that. It's a general purpose language for any purpose we can use. It's an open source, is free to use and free to distribute. And it was inspired from a language called as an ABC. And it's a dynamically typed language, and it is an object-oriented based programming language. Okay, that's it, guys, for the today's class. And if you have any questions, I'll take up the questions for 5 minutes. Anyone, any questions? You can use a chat panel, or if you want, you can unmute yourself and you can speak if you want. If anyone is there, if anybody wants to speak, unmute yourself and you can speak, or you can use a chat panel. Yeah, I will forward to everybody whoever shared the mail IDs. I'm going to share you the details. I'll share you the details after the class. I'll share them. Okay, fine then. Yeah, I'll check them. I'll check the mail IDs. It will be saved into my system. I'll check your mail IDs and I will share them actually. Yeah, everybody, to everybody I'll share it. Okay then. Any more questions? If you have any technical questions, you can speak. Please discuss them, because it is not like a training program. It's like a discussion class. So if you have any discussion, so better if you discuss the things, we'll be learning a lot of things actually.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Okay then,
As you are
guys.
having,
Just for today. Yeah. Yeah.
sir,
Yes.
since you are having a
Yes,
vast
Sriram. Go ahead.
experience, since you are having vast experience,
Mm,
you please suggest us some books
mm.
or some references regarding the deep learning course.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I will see. I will teach them, but I always prefer to learn step by step, step by step. So I'll
Yes, sir.
share you. I'll share a lot of PDFs and everything. There are a lot of things are available. But once you start learning the things, then step by step, step by step. For example, now you are starting with Python. So what are the best books for Python? I'm going to share them. Then machine learning, then deep learning. So that kind of a thing. So at a time, if you start learning deep learning, you can't understand anything, if
Okay,
unless and
sir.
until if you're already having some idea about that deep learning and all these things actually. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so I think as Suresh, same link for tomorrow's session. So I think you will get the mails from them. I was not sure about that. I thought that initially the same link will work for the demo classes, but every day they are changing the link actually. So I don't know about that. They'll give you the confirmation. Durgasoft will give you the confirmation whether to use the same link or whether they send a new link to your mail ID. Okay, fine then. Next, any others? So if you have any questions regarding the links and all these things, you can just please contact the Durgasoft. I think you have the numbers of contact numbers are there, or in online also you can find them. So they have the numbers. You can just go for that actually. Yes, Soundarya, please share the content and previously recorded classes which are missed to below mail ID. Recorded sessions, because Durgasoft will have control of that. I'll ask them to share them. Meanwhile, share the contents of the course I'm going to share from my side, Soundarya. Okay, fine guys. I think we're done for today. Do we have any project? Yes, we have a project also, Suresh. At the end of the course curriculum, we have it. We have an training almost all at the last 15 days. We dedicate for this project and some other 2 weeks we are going to spend with miscellaneous topics and project based. We'll give a project. So it is an every day we'll connect them and we'll just give some update of that particular what we have to do. Just I'll give you some project and I'll give you some questions, and this is a way which we have to do, so that we'll get some project experience also. Okay, fine then. Okay then, guys, thanks for today. I think we're done for the today's class. If you have any questions, feel free to discuss. Can just call me Vamshi. No need to say that, sir also. It's very free. It's just like an discussion classes. We'll learn the things. Um, so just call me Vamshi. Even no need to say sir also. Just you can call me Vamshi. That's it. Okay. Thank you guys, all of you. Just for today, we'll end up the session. So tomorrow we'll meet at the same time at 9 to 10 or 9 to 10:15, and we'll do the remaining Python introductions, the Python discussions, and then I'll start with the basics of Python classes also. Okay. So thank you all of you. Have a nice day, and hope we'll see you all of you tomorrow. Thank you all of you.